What if you could stop paying for one of the two supplements in your longevity stack and lose nothing? Not a downgrade, not a compromise. That second capsule costs pennies a day, and it is sold to fix one specific problem, the drain your NMN supposedly causes. So researchers measured the drain. 20 Parkinson's patients, 4 weeks, 3,000 milligrams a day of nicotinamide riboside, NMN's closest relative, and 3 to 12 times a normal dose. The methyl pool held. 3,000 milligrams, 4 weeks, the pool held. So where did the 5-cent fix come from, and is there anybody whose body genuinely needs it? The worry did not come from nowhere. The reasoning behind it is genuinely good. When you take NMN, your body uses it and then has to clear away what's left over. Clearing it costs you a methyl group, a small chemical tag your body spends on hundreds of jobs, from repairing DNA to switching genes on and off. So the logic runs, take more NMN, spend more methyl tags, and sooner or later you run short. And the leftover of all that spending is homocysteine, which has been treated for decades as a cardiovascular villain. That is the entire foundation of the TMG argument. TMG, trimethylglycine, also called betaine, donates methyl groups, so the pitch is that it refills the pool your NMN is draining. It's a beautiful theory, and every step of it is real. If you want the actual chemistry, the leftover is nicotinamide. An enzyme called NMN tags it into 1-methyl-nicotinamide so you can pee it out, and the methyl tag for that job comes from SAM, your body's universal methyl donor. Homocysteine is the byproduct. On paper, the logic is airtight. Then somebody went and measured it in actual people. The most important trial here is called NR-SAFE, published in Nature Communications in 2023. 20 Parkinson's patients, given 1,500 milligrams of nicotinamide riboside twice a day, so 3 grams total for 4 weeks. That is a huge dose, way above what any normal supplement user is taking, and the researchers didn't just measure homocysteine. They measured the whole methyl donor pool, SAM, SAH, folate, B12, choline, and betaine. Homocysteine did tick up modestly, but the pool itself, the thing everyone's worried about draining, stayed intact. Nothing collapsed, and there were no moderate or severe adverse events. Zoom out to lower, more realistic doses and the picture gets even quieter. In a 2019 safety trial, 300 milligrams of NR for 8 weeks in overweight adults didn't move homocysteine at all. A 2022 NMN trial at 1,250 milligrams a day for 4 weeks in healthy adults, well-tolerated, blood NAD+ went up, and no red flags. So the honest read is this: at typical doses in reasonably healthy people, there is no published human evidence of a methyl pool crisis that needs rescuing. So if the human evidence is that thin, where did the loud, confident TMG advice come from? 2 places. 1, the mechanism itself, which is genuinely elegant and easy to explain in a 2-minute video. 2, rodent studies and the fact that homocysteine does rise in some NR trials. Longevity YouTubers ran with it. Sinclair-adjacent creators, Brad Stanfield in his earlier videos, a whole cottage industry of stack recommendations, all pointing at TMG as the obvious, cheap insurance policy. Here's the problem: there has never been a published randomized human trial comparing NMN plus TMG against NMN alone, measuring anything that actually matters for your health, not a heart attack rate, not a cognitive score, not even a mitochondrial marker. It is a hedge built entirely on plausibility, and plausibility in nutrition science has an ugly track record. Here's the part that gets left out of the 5-cent fix pitch. In a controlled trial by Olthof and colleagues, 6 grams a day of betaine for 6 weeks raised LDL cholesterol by about 11% and total cholesterol by about 8%. So while you're lowering one cardiovascular marker, homocysteine, you're nudging up another one that has much stronger outcome data behind it. Now, in fairness, most stacked NMN products use 500 milligrams to 1 gram of TMG, which is well below the dose that caused the LDL effect. So if you're at that dose, the cholesterol impact is probably small. But look at what it took to get the homocysteine benefit in the first place. In the meta-analysis that established it, 5 trials at 4 grams a day or more dropped homocysteine by 1.23 micromoles per liter, about 12%. Both numbers we have, the benefit and the harm, come out of that same 4 to 6 gram range. Below it, nobody has really measured either one. That is a real trade-off, and it never appears in the YouTube pitch. Now zoom out one more level because this is the piece that reframes everything. Even if TMG does exactly what it's supposed to do and cleans up homocysteine, the assumption that lower homocysteine means better outcomes is itself on very shaky ground. A meta-analysis of 11 B vitamin trials, around 22,000 people combined, lowered homocysteine by about 25%. That is a huge, sustained drop, way bigger than anything TMG at supplement doses is going to do. And the results: no reduction in heart attacks, no reduction in strokes, no reduction in cognitive decline over 5 years. Homocysteine appears to be a marker of something, maybe overall metabolic health, maybe B vitamin status, but lowering it as an intervention has not translated into the outcomes we all assumed it would. So the 5-cent fix, even when it works exactly as pitched, is fixing a number that hasn't proven itself as a lever. One more data point worth sitting with. Brad Stanfield was probably the single loudest early voice for the NMN plus TMG stack on YouTube. He has since quietly stopped taking NMN. He switched to plain niacin, just 50 milligrams, and his overall tone on NAD plus precursor supplementation is dramatically more cautious now. That's not proof of anything on its own. He's not the authority. But when the person who dug deepest into a stack and made the case for it publicly changes his mind, that's a real signal about how thin the human evidence still is, even for the people most invested in it. The honest answer is not nobody. How fast people clear that leftover molecule varies a lot. When researchers measured the tagged version in urine, healthy donors ran around 41 micromoles a day, and kidney transplant patients sat near 22. Same measurement, very different numbers. Some of that spread may come down to how much of the tagging enzyme you personally make, though transplant patients differ in kidney clearance too, so it is not the whole story. Either way, nobody is testing you for it. So the people with a real case for a methyl donor are the ones who are actually short on them. A diet genuinely low in choline, folate, and protein, or a homocysteine reading a doctor has already flagged. If you carry an MTHFR variant or you are pregnant, that is a conversation with a clinician, not a purchase. Everyone else is buying insurance against a fire the human data says is not burning. One honest caveat before the bottom line. The cleanest trial we have used nicotinamide riboside, not NMN, and it ran in Parkinson's patients, not healthy adults. The two compounds converge on the same leftover molecule, which is why the result carries over, but nobody has run this exact test on NMN in healthy people. If that trial lands differently, this verdict moves. So let's translate all of that into what you might actually do. If you're taking NMN or NR at typical doses, anywhere from 250 to 1,000 milligrams a day, and you eat a mixed diet with reasonable folate from leafy greens and legumes, B12 from animal foods or supplement if you're vegan or older, choline from something like a couple of eggs a day, and adequate protein, you almost certainly do not need TMG on top of it. Your dietary methyl donors are handling the load your NMN is asking for. If you still want a hedge, stay in the 500 milligram to 1 gram per day range for TMG. That's where the risk-benefit is most defensible. Do not casually stack 3 to 6 grams to chase a longer life. That dose is where the LDL rise showed up, and the endpoint you'd be chasing hasn't proven itself anyway. If you're going to run this stack, do it like an experiment. Get baseline bloods and repeat them at 8 weeks. Homocysteine, LDL-C, ApoB, methylmalonic acid to check your B12 status, and RBC folate if your lab offers it. That's how you find out what's happening in your body, not someone else's rat. And if you're pregnant, already have elevated ApoB, or you know you carry an MTHFR variant, talk to your clinician before starting either compound. This is one of the places where individual biology genuinely changes the answer. If this was useful, hit the like button so more people who are on the fence about this stack actually see it. And subscribe if you want more supplement claims taken apart against the real human data instead of the mechanism cartoons. If you're actually going to run an NMN or TMG experiment on yourself, the only way you'll know if it worked is a clean record of what you took, on which days, at what dose, matched against your bloods. Vegetabla gives you a supplement adherence grid that shows exactly that. See it at vegetabla.com.